Okay, so hello and welcome back. So today we'll be discussing on information disclosure in version control. Okay, so let's understand what it is. So it refers to the unintentional exposure of sensitive or confidential data through the commit history. So the confidential or sensitive data can be anything. It can be your password, any kind of key search. So it's like it is exposing this kind of information through the commit history, logs, or metadata of a version control system, which is VCS. So there are different platforms like Git, SVN, or Mercurial. Okay, so this can happen when sensitive data such as API keys. So as I mentioned, like we have API keys, password, personal information, or proprietary code is included in the commit. So this code can be the one that is running on your system on the web application. So if it is included in any kind of commit or the branches or any version control component, so the components can be anything. So if this is accessible to the unauthorized user or exposed publicly, so this can be accessible to any user who is navigating the web or trying to access the web application. So this kind of information can be accessible there. So that is what the topic is for today. Okay, moving on to the next slide, I'll be explaining with an example. So the example is generally an API key in a configuration file. So let's understand the scenario. So here a developer commits a configuration file, that is config.py. So this is a configuration file. So this can be related to your application or any component that you are building to a GitHub repository containing an API key for a cloud service. Okay, so let's not just get into the complication of this thing. Let's just understand that there is a configuration file. So the developer is doing an initial commit. So hence I have mentioned as commit 1. So if you look into the changes that the developer has done, so this is a variable which you can see, it is named as API underscore key. Okay, so this is the API key. So this should not be displayed or stored in the code, right? So this is the thing that the developer, the mistake that the developer has done. This is the first thing. Then in the another URL, which is database underscore URL. So here what the developer is doing, that you can see MySQL user and password at the rate localhost and database. So it is also displaying the database password, right? So this is also a flaw. Now understanding the next step, realizing the mistake, the developer removes the sensitive data in the later commit. So now the developer has understood that this should not happen. The key should not be placed in the commit or the history of the code. Okay, so what he has done, now see, he has done another commit, which is commit 2. Okay, for the config.py file. Now what he has done, he has created the variable and he has given environment variable get API key. So it is now fetching the key and it is not directly storing the value here. Similarly, here also he has given the get function to get the value from a variable. He is not directly storing the value here. But now the issue is that, let's understand what's the issue with this thing. So an attacker, how the information is leaked. So now the attacker clones the repository, the entire repository. If the attacker is having access to it, it will clone the repository and inspect the commit history. So even though, as we can see, the developer was able, has understood his mistake and has changed the values, even through that, the attacker is able to access the commit history by using this command. So if it does git log IP and the file name, he can see the history. So as it is written here, this command shows the diff of the changes, revealing the API key and the database password from the first commit, even though they were removed in the second commit. Okay, so this is the issue. So the consequence here is that the attacker could abuse the API key to make unauthorized requests or extract sensitive data from the cloud service. So that was the consequence. Okay, so let's move on to practical to get a better understanding of the example that I've explained now. Okay, I'll log into my machine. So this is the PortSwigger lab that we have. So the lab's name is Information Disclosure in Version Control History. So now let's understand the task. It says that this lab discloses sensitive information in its version control history. So as we saw in the example, the answer or the value, it is present in the version control history. To solve the lab, obtain the password of the administrator user, then log in and delete the Carlos user. Now what we have to do, this is the username, that is the admin's username. Now we have to find out the password for this account. Okay, so the lab has started now. So as we were doing the derp, so let's continue with that. So I'll just copy the URL here and then I'll enter derp. Okay, and then paste it here. So I'll hit enter. So it will start looking for the directories. Okay, so let's see if we can find anything. Security. Okay, we found something. Okay, so see, we have got something as .get head. Okay, so let's try to navigate there. If there is something, enter. Okay, yeah, so see, we were able to find a directory with the git. So it will have all the details here. Okay, so logs. Okay, so yeah, so we are able to get this. So what I'll do, I'll like how we do git clone, so we'll try to fetch all the files in a directory, then we can try to navigate it. Okay, so let's just stop this because we have got what was required. I'll go here, just a minute, let's zoom in here. Okay, I hope this is visible. Okay, so fine. So what I'll do is that I'll again copy the URL. Okay, let's go here. So what we'll do, I'll type wget -r and fetch all the content of the git directory here. Okay, so we have just hit the enter and now it will start to clone all the details, all the files and this. So we will give this a moment to happen. Okay, so as you can see, it is finished, completed. So we'll do ls. So you can see a new directory is created. I'll do cd into this directory. Okay, it's a, enter. Let's see, you can't see nothing. So as it is a .get file, so we'll do ls-la. So yeah, you can see the file now. Let's do cd.git. Okay, ls. Yeah, so you can see all the contents here. Okay, right, so what I'll do, you can see branches here and everything is there. So I'll just type git branch. Let's see what we get. Okay, so master branch. Okay, fine. So now what we will do is that it says, if you remember the question, it says that you can find the information in the version control history, in the history, right? So what we will do is that we will try to check the commit history. So we can find that when we do get log. Okay, I'll just maximize this. If you enter, you can see the two comments, right? So this one, you can check, this one is the old one and this is No, this is the latest one and this one is the older one. You can check the date. The older one is present here and the latest one is present there. So you can see that there is something as remove admin password from config. So this says that some configuration changes were done. So now to get the detail of the log, like the detail log, we can use this command as we had seen in the PowerPoint presentation. Hit enter. You can keep on pressing enter. So okay, so we'll just have a look after the command p. Okay, so initial, so see, if you can see the initial commit, you can see admin password environment, later it was changed to this. So initially you can see the admin password, it is present here. So this is basically the password that we require. So what we will do, we will copy this password. Okay, go to the tab. So let's understand the question again. To solve the lab, obtain the password for administrator user, then log in as the Carlos. So we just have to go, we have to type here as administrator, okay, and paste the password here. Okay, hit login. So you can see your username is admin. So we have logged in as the admin user. Navigate to the admin panel and we have to delete Carlos user. Okay, so today congratulations, you solved the lab. Okay, so before going, just let's understand this. So we have the mitigation steps. So when we find such kind of vulnerability, how are we going to mitigate it? So the point, I'll read it out here. So it is prevent sensitive data in commits. Okay, so try to avoid this in the commits, because once it is committed, you can, as you can see, it is present in the log and you are able to access the data. So just prevent this data in commits. Clean up the commit history. Even if you have done, try to, not just try, just commit. If it is if accidentally you had entered the password or something, immediately come like clean up the commit history. Secure your repository access. Don't give access to anyone, just keep it private to yourself or the developers you are working around. Then educate the developer about the issues that this kind of version control and the commit history holds, so that they get a better understanding and they avoid such kind of scenarios. Okay, then we have used git ignore and then monitor and audit. Always try to monitor such kind of events. So yeah, so this is these are the mitigation steps that you can follow. So yeah, this is it for today. Good day.